Why, hello. I didn't see you there. I was just looking at this fine collection of UNCPDLIies, fresh off the mint, and yet to be awarded. What's that? You say you want a UNCPDLIe of your own? Don't make me laugh. These bad boys are only for the best of the best, which, statistically speaking, you really aren't. But feel free to help yourself to the hors d'oeuvres. Now, enjoy the show. The third official and first official 9th season UNCPDLIies. Up first, we have Most Improved for the Silver Division. This one, with a bullet, goes to Loon of the Silver Division. Loon is really has been around only, I think it's only their second season, but really just showed off a lot of improvement. Basically all wins this season. Very good team that they got, and they did fantastic. Obviously they're coming from one of the weaker records last season to being the champion of the Silver Division this season. So just really a fantastic performance from Loon. Not really, I don't think we've had as much of a clear, distinct improvement from one season to the next, is particularly in terms of just playing and good game decisions, good plays. So this one definitely goes to Loon. And slow and steady wins the race, as they say, because, some of Loon's games did take a while. Like the finals game, I believe, was about an hour and 30 minutes, and Loon would quickly admit that was because of their own, decision making. But that's fine. There's really no reason to rush through games, especially in like a playoff setting. So even longer games are kind of the standard for draft sometimes when it's a big game like that. But anyhow, good job to Loon. Very good progress over this season. Next up, we have the King John. The most improved award for the Gold Division, which goes to Philip. This is an interesting one because Philip's always been kind of a solid player, but I would say, particularly when he's been in Gold, like in Silver, he's always like a big contender. But whenever Philip's been in Gold, it's kind of always a question of how well is he going to do? Because he's a good player, but next to some of the other Gold players, he tends to not always win. He tends to have weaker records sometimes. But this season was quite the opposite. He did really fantastically, with his only loss being to the finals, which is certainly not basically the best place you can lose. And of course, a forfeit during the regular season. It was activity, but really Philip did a lot better than the season in general, with basically won in just every game that was not activity or finals. So just fantastic performance from Philip. Really solid team. Really showing off a lot of those fundamental kind of like Smogon type strategies that I feel like they're very good with. Though this season their team felt distinctly more draft like, which probably helped them with a lot of those bulky versatile Pokemon like Sarud, Uxie, and the kinds of sweepers like Garchomp, Mega, and Gengar that really, and even Melmetal, that tend to work really well in draft. Really good team. Lots of pivoting to Comfy, just fantastic. So even though Philip was already starting off very high, being the runner-up for Gold, which is a very competitive division, I would say that is a fantastic performance from them and worth celebrating. Next up, we have the Combo King, an award where we celebrate somebody who really just had a fantastic streak, very impressive performance, and that would be Aiden Kelly. Aiden Kelly, I think, earned this award because undefeated entirely up until finals, and as I just said, finals the best place to lose. Not even a single activity call. They did good. And it's just also the thing is too, not only were there a lot of just consecutive wins, because there's a couple of people that had a lot of consecutive wins this season, but the Aiden Kelly's wins were just very dominant, which is very cool to see. There's a couple of games maybe where an RNG point here or there mattered in Aiden's favor, but like overall there were still very dominant performances, and for any of those, I wouldn't say any of them was like a luck based win. I wouldn't say there wasn't a win where Aiden really didn't earn it. So it was just fantastic play overall from Aiden. And easily the best up until like finals, really just the best showing we'd seen. Even finals was a closer game, so it's like just fantastic showing from Aiden Kelly. Really above reproach in terms of the kind of play he showed. Next up, we have the Martyr Award. The Martyr Award goes to Gabe, who time and time again was robbed not only from just well-deserved wins, but just generally fucked with. There's some things. I don't know if anybody saw his first round playoffs game against Loon there, but I think his Heatran missed something like 7 moves in a row, and these weren't like 50% these are like 75%, 85% accuracy moves. That is an accomplishment to miss how many it was, 5 or 7 like in a row. It's just And then on top of that, like, he forgot some sets on his Pokemon. He forgot, like, some AVs and moves in some and I believe 1 or 2 battles. But even in those battles, he may have won one of them, I forget. But even in the one where, like, for one of the other ones he forgot, I believe the first round playoffs, he still got super close to winning, which is just like he misses 7 times in a row. He forgets EVs and important abilities on his Pokemon, like Slurp and Burden on Slurpuff and Heat Ran's EVs besides Special Defense, I believe, and still comes super close to winning, and then just also misses some more moves, and so then he loses. And it's just like, wow, he is a hero for continuing to play the game. Despite its clear consensus that it hates him and does not want him to live or have fun. But, yeah, Gabe deserved better because it was one of his best seasons overall, just in terms of, like, skill showing off. The record doesn't really reflect that with the losses, but if you watch those games and you see how really unfair life in the game was to him, it's completely understandable. Yes, but very good showing from Gabe, and we're glad you died for our sins. Next up, we have the Bromon lover, the brother lover. Ken, look, the point is Ken gets the Bromon lover. Ken really, I felt like, for even with a team with a lot of broken stuff, just really offensive stuff that you can roll over opponents with, like Naganadel, Charizard, Araquanid, very strong Pokemon offensively, and obviously a very good tank and Florges to UNCON that served them a lot. But I feel like they made a very good effort to bring some weaker Shitmons and, like, use them out and give them a real purpose. Didn't bring them just to bring them. Like they brought Aurorus, Tropius, and I think even Executor like twice on different occasions. And while their purposes often didn't work, I felt like Ken's plans for them were very well reasoned. Like Executor with the Tonga Berry or something, I believe, meant to mess with somebody, I forget who. But or Culber Berry for Hydreigon, I forget who it was. But anyway, the point is they're very good plans behind this. That's right, like Ken wasn't just bringing them to bring them. He had specific plans in mind for them, like the Tropius against Declan, which, kind of went hinky, but we'll get to that later. But there was still a good idea behind it, where it was good against Paraseed without Ice Fang. It was good against, it could stall things that didn't have the ability to status, which Ken was in a pretty good position for. So yeah, it was just really bringing those interesting Pokemon and making them with interesting set ideas that were well reasoned and not just like I'm going to splash this just to bring it. So I think Ken really executed well his appreciation for his Bromons that he took along for the ride and didn't neglect them, which was cool to see. Next up, we have refusing to elaborate. The refusing to elaborate award goes to Catherine. Catherine earns this award because they showed up, the new player. They did I think maybe the best of any new player we've seen in their first season. Well, one of the best of any new player we've seen. Not kind of the first season stuff, where it's like they did a pretty great performance, 2 wins, like a lot of experience, and their losses were close certainly. But now they will be joining us for the next season. Maybe they'll come back to us at some point. But even if they don't, it was just really cool to see a new person who came in, had a pretty good understanding of the game, really shook things up with some fun matches, made it so other people didn't really know what to expect from them because fighting a new player is really way different than fighting a player who've already fought before. And we kind of know their play style. So I'm very grateful to Catherine for joining us and spicing up our league, winning a couple games, refusing to elaborate, and leaving. I am grateful for that. All right, next up we have the most venerated player. That would be Aiden L. I gave this award to Aiden because Aiden really managed to have 2 just very solid performances with that earned him MVP slots, namely his Hitmontop sweep against against Ron with Triple Axel, just clearing out most of Ron's Pokemon. And then we had, what was it? And that was just really cool to see. It's like a Hitmontop Apertit LARPing as an Ice Sweeper. And then we had Mega Beedrill just taking a lot of Ken's crew pretty quickly into the game and just getting that strong poison jab, stab, and with other stuff to really just take out the remnants of Ken's team after I believe Bisharp died, or not sure, but something went down and then it was time for Beedrill. So really nice job for Aiden Lee, really just having some dominant performances in games, identifying the win cons, and going with it, doing a good job. All right, next up we have the Fuck Around and Find Out award from Graylin. Listen, Graylin, the ratio of fucking around to finding out, it's insane. Graylin plays the game. Graylin just comes in. Graylin just, it's like that person who just waltzes in and just doesn't know what they're doing, but still does. They don't do great, but they do good. Loon is literally the champion of silver. Graylin got Loon down to 2 mons, and Graylin wasn't preparing for that match. Graylin made that team in 7 minutes on the Showdown Team Builder. It's here's what I think would be funny move, and she basically had Loon on the ropes for a good time there, and even some of the luck didn't go in their favor exactly, in her favor. So Graylin is definitely a player who I really appreciate, because they may not put all their time into the game. They have for some reason she has other things she wants to do with her life besides make imaginary monsters fight in a Mongolian dogfighting simulator. But still did very well, still a very good sport, and fights to the end, and has some very tight games now and then. So always in the corner for Graylin, and I think this is a well-earned, prestigious award. Let it be known, this award is not a backhanded comment. This is a prestigious award, the most prestigious award, I would argue, except for the one I gave myself. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we have the Power Level Award. This is for someone who I felt like hit their power level consistently. And for this category, we have Yarn. Yarn is like, Yarn will bring some things. Yarn will bring fear 2 weeks in a row, and then they'll just bring like a very legitimate, very good team the next week that still has like a weird like Parish song Murkrow on it, but it's a very legitimate, like well-designed team that perfectly executed its win cons to beat Rishi, I believe. I forget who. But Yarn's last week performance really shows that like Yarn can really go hard should they feel like it. They can really dig in, but they also just like having fun a lot and trying different things, which is always admirable as well. So this award just kind of commemorates their ability to kick ass while also sometimes deliberately choosing not to kick ass and bringing something funny, which I appreciate as a spectator, giving me something amusing to look at and see, whether that be a Parish Song Murkrow, a fear set that may get offset slightly, or just some of the other crazy stuff we saw, or even some things that are effective, or like maybe not crazy like I guess Metronome Jirachi is crazy, but it worked out with the set. It was a smart set for Metronome Jirachi, right? Where you got the Fire Punch debate in the Ditto, whatever opposing steel type like Ferrothorn that might want to mess with Jirachi, then the Wish Protects, you can just stall for Metronomes. It was a very honed version of a silly idea, which is again why Yarn earns this award. All right, next up we have the Gentleman Gamer Award for Rishi. The Gentleman Gamer Award, listen, in a very heated season, I feel like there's a lot of doom posting, which is fair, you lose, you get down, you get upset, you get disappointed, you might doom post a little bit. We've all been there, I get it. But Rishi, I felt like, was always a very good sport in their games, always fought very hard, and I never really heard... They never seemed to really get too down and out about it. They were always seemed ready for the next game to get back up again and get back in there and give it their all. And even in some games where they got a little unlucky, right, I didn't see them moaning or complaining about it after. In fact, I sometimes would try to goad them in and be like, well, listen, man, you got hacked. But they were never really coming out with that, which was just good to see somebody with a good head on their shoulders and always keeping their head in the game and moving on. So very good, very well-earned Gentleman Gamer Award. A lot of these awards sound like insults now that I think about it, but that is the nature of the UNCPDLIies. They are a burden as well as a gift. All right, next up we have the Goofy Goober Award. The Goofy Goober Award, one of the most important awards in my opinion. The Goofy Goober Award goes to Hannah Roundley. This is because I feel like Hannah was, I don't know, some leagues, I don't know. I hear some leagues, a lot of leagues invites me to games, just like Ken will be like, oh, I watch this game, and I'm like, sure. But it's like, you can't talk in the voice chat. I don't know where the fuck this came from. I never heard of this before. Can't talk in voice chat for some leagues, apparently. I never heard of that until a while ago, but apparently that's a thing. And I hate that idea. Anyway, the point is, we do a lot of talking in the voice chat here, and I wouldn't run the league without it. The voice chat, not the voice chat, sorry, what do I mean? The game chat, the showdown battle chat. Without it, I wouldn't. My incentive to run this league would be diminished because I love the bands. I love the banter in there. And Hannah always felt like was always saying a lot of funny things in there. Always active in the chat when she was spectating battles, which I always appreciate. Cracking jokes, just having a good time. And also her nicknames I felt like were above reproach. Just Virginity Rocks, Divinity, and Engard, Soy Cuck, the Escavalier alone. Just top tier stuff. Really good. I'm sure there's some others, but I don't have a pace in front of me right now, so I can't see them all. But it was just good names all around. Some funny gags, some funny goofs, always active in the chat, which I appreciate. So, well-deserved Goofy Goober Award there for Hannah. Next up, we have the Tooth and Nail Award. This award goes to the person who fought really hard, really well, but even if they didn't come out on time, just always a good match from them. And that person is Ron. Ron really dominated this season at the start when he really took me down a peg, just fucking swept my ass week one. From there, unfortunately, Ron only had losses, but they were like some crazy games. There were like some 1-0 losses, like I believe it was 1 to Ken, that was like 50 turns, like some other losses that were low differential or like longer games. Like Ron really fought hard with his teams, even if maybe he would flub out at the end. And I mean, even I know he got swept pretty hard by that Hitmontop. But I believe even that wasn't like a high differential game, like even with not many turns. I believe it was either high turns or like good differential for Ron. So it's just like he was always really giving it his all, and the battles were always very fun to watch and felt even on both sides, even if Ron's record overall this season was pretty poor. So yeah, tooth and nail, very well earned by Ron, I would say. Next up, we have the Pink Award. Pink, me, I got the Pink Award. Pink. Next up, we have the Experimenter Award. The Experimenter, which goes to Pratham. Pratham, I felt like really got creative with their team building this season. And I don't just mean in the standard sense. This is a distinct award. I'm not running out of ideas for awards. It's a distinct award from Ken's brother Bromon Lover award. Because I feel like Pratham wasn't bringing things just that, like, wasn't looking at a weaker thing saying, what could it do here? I mean, fair, I'm not saying that's what Ken was doing. I think Ken had a purpose with his things as well. But I think Pratham, I felt like almost every week, most weeks his team was like different from the last. At least there was like 3 Pokemon different usually. But even if that wasn't what Pratham did, usually his set would be drastically different, where he would bring like sweepers, fast sweepers for Necrozma, or he could go more utility with it sometimes. He even brought like a defensive Grand Bull, which you don't usually see, like with Intimidate Max Bulk to try and stop Blaziken, I believe, at one point. He brought Speed Boost Kartana, I believe, or maybe I imagine that. But the point is, even with something like Kartana, right, very blunt object, usually you just use it one way. Pratham found some diversity in how to use that. I mean, always some Pokemon, right? He brought the same every time, basically, like Swampert. But even Swampert, I think, brought interesting sets sometimes, like Rock Slide, like would forego a stab for Rock Slide or something like that. Just some interesting, there's a lot of interesting stuff from Pratham. I believe Flash Cannon, like Stick Web Vikavolt, just these really cool ideas that were fun to see in execution. Even if they didn't always necessarily succeed, it was still cool to see them attempted and laid out on the field. So very much well-earned Experimenter Award from Pratham. I need to stop using the same phrases over and over again, but they're very good for conclusions. All right, next up we have... very important award. The There Goes My Hero Award for Alfie. I listen... Alfie, been here since Season 1, a real G, was even with us for our terrible nightmare doubles on cart multi-battle season. He is leaving us for Season 10. Who knows if he'll be back? I don't know. I'm heartbroken either way. But I wish him well. I wish him, good things. He's a real one. He's been with us since we couldn't listen. We operated on razor thin margins for so long. We had so many 8-man seasons. If Alfie was out, there was no league. Listen, and so I'm very, very grateful that he's been with us for this long. It's a good time to leave. Perhaps there's a lot of new blood coming in, so he will not be missed as sorely, except by me. I will miss his hyper offense stylings, his Megalopony spam, his Dragonites, his Whimsicots, his Smeargles, his god tier slacking play. I still remember when he was fighting Declan, and he just as if his hand was guided by God when Declan went right for the Ferrothorn against Slacking. Slacking just had that choice banded fire punch at the ready. Declan had a heat ran on his team, I believe, or something to absorb fire damage. Alfie didn't care, just went right for it. The thing switched out, went to Ferrothorn, and it fell. It fell in one hit. Declan's defensive bulwark down to a fire punch from a lazy sloth. But yeah, the point is Alfie will be missed. His signature, unique battling style, and Well, I'm talking about it's like he's dead. You can still get that. I'm just saying it was cool having him in the draft league, but I'm glad we had him for so long, and I wish him the best in future Pokemon related endeavors. Probably, maybe we'll see him in the VG turn up. You know, maybe he'll use experience here, take it to VGC. I know he's been looking at the VGC circuit and become world champion. He's gonna do it, guys. Alfie's got the experience here. He'll say it. He'll get up on the stage. He'll say it was UNC. Or I gather this is getting stupid. All right. Is that the last one? Oh no, there's one more. Okay, this one I saved for the last because the kill murdered. I don't know what to call it. The kill murder death award. The game denier award. The playoffs ruiner that wasn't RNG or long games award. Goes to Declan. Now, for those not familiar. Both of Declan's games in Gold play. I said Gold was a very competitive division. I feel like it usually is more competitive. Maybe not this season, though, because our playoffs games, both Gold playoff games, consisted of Declan's Mega Altaria quickly finding its footing, right? Both times, actually, this was because the opponent had like a defensive Pokemon, I believe, Tropius for Ken, and then Wuxie for Philip, who's planned to shut down Altaria, which was smart, to be fair with status. But Declan both times, because both teams are fairly weak to Fairy, I believe, just went D-Dance, return, Heal Bell. I don't remember the moves, it doesn't really matter. I think Earthquake for one of them. But anyway, and he just swept. He just swept 6-0. Like, there was Declan had 6 on his side. The opponent lost all. Ken and Philip both lost all of their mons. to a Mega Altaria Dragon Dance sweep, which is just insane. You really don't see that in playoffs. I don't think I've ever seen that in back-to-back playoffs, like a full 6-0 sweep by the same Pokemon. I don't think I will ever see that again. So it's just really insane how much Declan just denied his opponent's games with one Pokemon, just sweeping through everything, especially when Mega Altaria is very strong, but not usually like a meta draft pick, so something more off the beaten path, and just recognizing how it could punch through the opponent's teams, and it quickly did. It quickly did. Yeah, so just in honor of this, we moved up Mega Altaria some points for this season, for the upcoming season, Season 10. I don't even think it really needs it, but it's just a recognition of this amazing feat, and hopefully nobody drafts it again, because I think we're going to be getting PTSD from seeing Mega Altaria. Just, my goodness, it's a real nightmare, but good on you, Declan, I guess. All right, and that's it. That's all the UNCPDL. I'm very sorry if you didn't get one, but I said these were for the best of the best. It's not these millennials with their trophies and their participation trophy. It sickens me. I hate it to my core. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys appreciate. I felt like these were pop. I know nobody asked me to do it this time, but I felt like this could have forgot, because when I didn't do it for Season 8, because it was more of a gimmick season, people really missed the one that I did from Season 7. So I hope people were waiting for this. At least we'll be happy to see it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope to see those of you who are coming back in Season 10 for the Revenge of the Wheel, a big season. And yeah, thanks. I listen. I appreciate all you. It's been amazing that we've been doing this for 10 seasons, since basically the beginning of Gen 8, and now as we come to the close of Gen 8, I believe Season 10. Somewhat, poetically, will be our last season for Gen 8. So we had a solid 10 seasons of this throughout the last 3 years of Gen 8. And Season 11 will no doubt start up maybe a month or so, 2 weeks, just let the metal settle a little bit after Scarlet and Violet comes out. But yeah, I'm very thankful to all you guys for making this possible. Like I said with Alfie earlier, we run on thin margins. If it wasn't for you guys, the old timers, sticking with us for so long, this would never really been able to happen, because new turnouts have always been pretty low up until now for some reason, which I'm very grateful for. But yeah, so thank you guys all for sticking around and helping make this possible. I very much like imaginary Pokemon squabble kerfuffle draft thing. It's fun, and a lot of you guys have contributed a lot of the great ideas that make it so unique. Like a lot of leagues, I don't think most people don't play several leagues here. This is a very unique league. Most leagues aren't like this cool. People don't talk to each other this much. I mean, probably a lot of this to do with the fact that we're friends anyway. But it feels very social and very involved and very interconnected, which is cool. It's more than just I hope I beat you with these Pokemon. And there's more to it than that, which I very much appreciate. All right. See you guys for Season 10.